On to ties now between Jerusalem and Paris. The new French ambassador to Israel, Frédéric Journès, has today presented his credentials to Israeli President Isaac Herzog, marking the official start of his tenure. The ambassador designates, saying the 75-year-old relationship between France and Israel is like no other, with a unique human bond and fascinating intellectual, scientific and strategic links. So it's a pleasure to welcome to the Rundown Studios Ambassador Frédéric Journès, the French ambassador to Israel. Ambassador, thank you so much for being here in studio.
Thank you very much for welcoming me.
You say this is a unique relationship between Israel and France. That certainly is the case, and this is a unique place with unique challenges. Your president has said that peace between Israel and Arab nations can't happen unless there is a Palestinian independent state down the line. Talk to us about the challenges you foresee as you start your tenure in this very complicated region.
Well, it is always challenging, but you know, there is something that I believe is happening right now, is that France, other European nations, Western nations, and emerging powers as well, be it in the Middle East or beyond, do not see the Middle East, Israel, only because of their problems. They see it because of its potential. We see more and more Israel as a startup nation, capable of bringing solutions to digital solutions for our transition to a sustainable economy. And we see the Middle East as a place with fabulous economic development, and if there is peace in that region, it can become a land and sea bridge between the Indo-Pacific region, Europe, Africa. So it's very important and full of opportunities. And yes, of course, this has to involve the question of the Palestinians, and the Palestinians will be part of the solution. It cannot be without them. I'm too early here to have, you know, a mature judgment and presentation on the matter. So what I can say in simple words is, it's not because a problem has been repeated over and over again for 7 years, and because you're tired of hearing of it and you don't want to talk about it, that it stops to exist. The problem is there. It is political. What I observe right now is that there is no political discussion between the parties, and there was one before. For Abraham Agreement, there is a political dialogue, and we need one on that too.
We're going to talk a bit more about the Abraham Accords down the line, but first I want to bring up an issue which I know is close to home in France, and that is anti-Semitism, obviously a concern here as well. And in this region, very recently, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas made some scathing, reprehensible remarks about the Holocaust. It's not the first time that he has done that. Two questions. Firstly, your reaction to the comments that he has made. And secondly, when you talk about peace down the line, how does that happen with somebody who is speaking to his own Fatah members about hatred about Israelis and Jews and ugly comments about the Holocaust and denial about the Holocaust?
The comments were horrible, and our Minister of Foreign Affairs immediately condemned them extremely clearly. And we said it publicly, that it was totally acceptable, that it was obvious and unavoidable that this was anti-Semitism and that it was denial. After, to answer to you, how do you make peace with a difficult partner? Peace is hard. I remember Barack Obama saying that, and he was true. What I can say from our own national experience, we did peace with Germany after the war. It seemed impossible. There was a rooted hostility between our two countries for a century. Today we are friends, we have student exchange, we are partners in politics. You don't make peace with your friends, you make peace with your enemies. That's the challenge. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to do it at any time, and that it's not easy to do it now. But we can never give it up, because I see, you know, the fact that we cannot get into that translates, in the absence of any political perspective, into this cycle of violence. And we endure it in our life. It's terrible also for Israeli people. It is for Palestinian people. We are in the period of Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, and Sukkot, and we have enhanced security. That's what we want to be able to move out from. We just wish for the Israeli people to have security and for the Palestinians to have peace.
Certainly everybody across the region is wanting to be able to live in peace. There is no doubt about that. We spoke a little bit earlier about the Abraham Accords. These are deals, normalization, understandings that years ago many people in this region would never have imagined could be possible, and yet as of late 2020 they first were signed and now they are growing. The expansion of the Abraham Accords is underway as we speak, but the big fish, so to speak, is Saudi Arabia and Israel normalization potentially down the line, something being discussed really as we speak in New York. Is there a role that France can play in terms of helping to expand this circle of peace in the Middle East right now? How do you see it?
I would say first, to be honest, France, like many other countries in Europe, didn't see the Abraham Accords coming. We were focusing on what Jared Kushner was doing at the time for an Israel-Palestine settlement. And yes, we missed what Mike Pompeo was doing. We're looking at it right now, and as I said before, it's because we are changing the vision of the Middle East. The Middle East becomes part of world solutions and not only a world problem. If this translates into a bound between India, Middle East, Europe, Africa, if the Palestinians have benefits in it, if the Israeli people, of course we want to be in. We need to look what we can do down the way. There is an enormous issue, for instance, in infrastructures. There are various aspects that goes down those agreements that needs to be worked. There was a meeting today between Saudi Arabia and the European Union to discuss the Palestinian side of it. But when you heard the declaration of Joe Biden during the G20, the European Union was part of it too. So, of course, we're working it. I don't know how it will come out, but we're thinking of it.
Ambassador Frédéric Journès, we so appreciate you being here in studio. All the best with your new tenure, Bahatzlacha, as we say in this part in the world. And thank you so much for being here in studio.
Thank you.
On the rundown. Thank you.